Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have an unboxing of the Tecno Camon Premier 30 Premier 5G. Let's get started. This device has just arrived in Mexico together with its brother Tecno Camon 30. This is the highest edition of the entire Tecno Camon 30 series, so it is priced at 14,999 pesos. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars. Just to give you an idea, but remember that the prices here are not the same as over there. His younger brother is the smallest of the series, so it has a price of 4,999. You also see the reference price in dollars, just to give you an idea. In the description, I leave you the link because in Mexico it arrives through Mercado Libre. So let's get to know it because surely in other parts of the world it will also be on sale. First of all, the box reveals that it has 12 physical and 12 virtual ones. It also highlights us that on the back it also reveals us the processor, charging power and other things that we will see in a moment. Let's take it out of its box. On its sticker, it's also highlighting to us several of the most important features of this device, but I'll tell you about them one by one in a moment. What catches my attention is that it comes with a proprietary image processing developed by Tecno called Polar Ace AI that will surely help in photo enhancement. And ready? Here I have the device. As you can see, it comes with a quite interesting finish. In a moment we will comment more about it, but while it is turned on, what do you think if we see what else is here in the box? And well, over here in this box we are going to find a little more content. To start with is the warranty, which is 12 months. There is also a tempered glass. It's something quite curious that almost no manufacturer usually incorporate today. Then you can get to protect your screen. Obviously is not ultra advanced or something like that, but it is always appreciated the fact that we include this type of protection. In fact, also include a case that notes is a sufficiently rigid case. I think it will give a very good level of resistance to the device notes. I'm trying to press it and it really has a very good resistance, and also the finish of the back cover also comes very similar to the finish of the device, so you don't lose this faux leather design element. We still find this aesthetic finish here, although it is not as soft to the touch as the device is. Then without the case you will have a softer finish to the touch, but with the case you have more protection and still retains much of the aesthetic design. Also adds this gold ring to the camera that from my point of view looks much more attractive than the design that has by default. Then personally this is a case that I would use because it does not spoil the design of the device, and that is something that is very much appreciated. But let's see what else comes in the box. In this case it includes here some cloths to correctly install the glass, and let's see what else. We will find the key to remove the SIM card tray. Here is the charger that immediately reveals us its power of 70 watts. As I remember, I have never tried a charger of 70 watts. Specifically, we will test later how long it takes to charge. And let's see, finally that is here. It's cable from USB-A to USB-C with highlights in color. A to USB-C with orange highlights as always to distinguish it, as it is important to remember that you need this original cable if you want to take advantage of the maximum level of charging. So that is what is included in the box. What do you say we keep this content and take a closer look at the cell phone? I have already configured the device. Then let's take a look at its specifications in design. We will find the back cover with synthetic leather, has a thickness of 7.9 millimeters, although this in its thinnest part, because observe how in this part there is an important relief in the back cover and still a much more important relief in the camera module. This gives it a very original design. Also note that on the right side there is no relief that goes rising, but on the right side, if it is a quite peculiar design, I had not seen similar in other smartphones, only reminds me a little to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, which also has a relief but on both sides. In this case the relief is only on the left side. The screen is 6.77 inches in its diagonal, offers us 1.5K resolution, AMOLED technology and 120 Hz. Then definitely that is a nice screen, to the eye is very good. In this case it also has a high brightness, and in fact it also incorporates a higher brightness mode that you can surely take advantage of when you are under the sunlight. As I tell you, in general it is a good quality screen, plus it integrates stereo sound with a speaker below and another speaker above. That is excellent news. It also has infrared to control devices universally, and interestingly, it has a red LED on the back that will turn on when it is charging. It would be great if it also turned on when you are recording video, but it seems that it does not work with that. The front camera is 50 megapixels with autofocus and f2.4 aperture. So as always here, I did a first impressions test before taking the picture. It looks like a completely burnt background, but after taking the picture, see how the cloud textures appear now. If the clouds, then I think it manages to balance lights and shadows. Well, it is a camera that in general seems to have a good behavior. The fact that it integrates autofocus also allows you to be with a very good level of detail, and is something that we usually only see in the top of the range devices. Then it is confirmed that it is a good flagship by Tecno, but despite being flagship, does not have an exaggeratedly high price. And on the back we find an ultra-wide camera of 50 megapixels with f2.2 aperture. Then the main camera also with 50 megapixels aperture, f1.8 and optical stabilization. And finally a periscope camera with 3x optical zoom with an f2.15 aperture. As you can see, it is a remarkably good photographic system, incorporates 3 high resolution sensors, and that will surely raise the level in each of the photographs. And thanks to the high resolution sensor in the periscope camera is that we can also have a zoom of up to 60x, although in this case we are talking about digital zoom. But let's take a quick look at these results. This is a test photograph that I took with the high resolution mode, and we can see that if it is going to offer us a high level of detail, although the first time you zoom in it is still difficult and it is slowly loading the image in high resolution, but if it offers us an advanced result, this is the ultra wide camera, I think it has an acceptable behavior. Then we find the main camera of 23 millimeters. Then I was approaching the camera of 70 millimeters, and then the camera of 70 millimeters, and then the camera of 70 millimeters, and then the camera of 70 millimeters. 70 millimeters, and then we will notice that we can continue zooming up to the maximum, which is 60x at maximum zoom. I do not consider that it has exaggerated level of detail, but obviously at maximum zoom almost never going to take pictures. This would be the result with a zoom 30x, which is the maximum zoom that I think you will still use. Commonly, I think for the price is a zoom that can get to highlight, although obviously it is not the best zoom of all the flagships. Here I took some portrait pictures, and the result, honestly, I liked it. Detects well the foreground, defocuses well the background, and lets you take portraits both with the main camera and with a 2x telephoto setting, still maintaining good focus, although the level of detail is not so high. And finally also lets you take portraits with the 3x zoom setting, where obviously improves the level of detail because it does use the specific lens. And honestly, the portraits look with very good quality, will surely be one of its strongest points. So the photographic system honestly seems very attractive to me. And when recording video, it can reach 4K at 60 frames per second. And that quality is maintained with any of the 3 lenses. In fact, the front camera also allows you to record in this resolution. So not only seems to be very interesting in photography, but also in video recording. The battery is 5000 mAh and supports 70-watt charging. The charger is included in the box. So there is nothing to complain about in this aspect. It is not a battery that stands out from the rest, but it stays in the average, but it does not seem to disappoint. Although the more specific battery test we will obviously do in the video review. It has iOS 14 based on Android 14, and they promise 2 years of software updates and 3 years of security patches. It has 512 gigabytes of storage, and just turned on it only had 4.17% used, which was 21.35 gigabytes. I think the space used is a little high, but surely the operating system will show us several added features that we will see in the review. It comes with 12 gigabytes of physical RAM, and you can extend up to another 12 gigabytes of virtual RAM. You know that virtual RAM, I don't use it much because it doesn't really take advantage of it, and it's just going to wear out your internal storage. So I'm going to try it as it comes by default, but I would recommend turning off the virtual RAM, because with 12 gigabytes of physical RAM, I think it's more than enough. And finally, the processor is the MediaTek Dimensity 8200 Ultimate. Is a processor that looks interesting for its name. Let me see the benchmarks in Geekbench in single core. It gave us 986 points, a pretty low score in single core, although in multi-core it went up to 3206, showing much more power in that sense. In Antutu showed good muscle, reaching 934,105 points. So it should have a good performance in applications and games without becoming the most powerful device. But I think at the price is well balanced between good power, good screen, good sound, good cameras. Obviously in the review we will do a more detailed analysis, but first of all it looks good, incorporating a good cover, the little detail of the red light on the back, and also has fingerprint reader inside the screen. So little more we could ask. Sincerely, seems to me a pretty complete smartphone. But in the video review we'll analyze much more detail. Its operation for now has only been a first look. I hope you liked this video. If so, you know that you can indicate it, and see you next time.